Lying here all alone, thinking that I'm way too thinking I would too much. You're gone, I'm lying here all alone, thinking that I'm way too thinking I would too much. You're gone.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry for the delay, but I'm here now. Um, Welcome to another edition of NukeStream, the last NukeStream of the year, guys, and then we'll start 2024. Let me know if you guys can hear me well. Yeah, um, so you guys know where to find me. Linktree is going to be put in the chat now. Hopefully, I remember how to spell it. And yes, I am late blue pill today. Sorry, Dr. W. But yeah, how you guys doing tonight? Hopefully it's chill night for you guys. Hopefully you guys had a good Christmas. And are gonna have a good new year. Get your resolutions in order and all that stuff. But yeah. So thanks guys for watching tonight. Today's topic is basically there's many lessons I learned and I wanted to teach, not teach, but tell you guys what I've learned over 2023, and I learned a lot this year in terms of women, myself, mostly myself, which is the point of Red Pill, is to learn more about yourself um, than the outside world and how to fix yourself. Because as you know, you can't fix the world. You don't control the universe because you learn Red Pill, right? You only can fix yourself and make yourself a better person in order to handle what's really going on. In front of us, right? So basically, uh, I wrote a thread in February, as you guys know. Kind of retweeted somebody discovered it today and retweeted it, and then I started retweeting it on my what do you call it, on my page or on x.com. And I look back at this list, and all of it is pretty much the same. I haven't really the things that I've seen in this thread are pretty much the same. All the other guys that look at the stuff are like, yeah, I've had similar experiences, right? And really, the lessons that you learn from women and dating and going out there are pretty much the same. They haven't really changed much over the years. So it's really interesting to see how we keep repackaging the red pill, and dating advice, we keep turning it into different things, we keep different iterations of it. We use it. Some guys use it to make money. Some guys bastardize it. Some people wear it as a skin suit. Some people attack it, and it's like the stuff in here the advice never changes, and the reason it never changes, guys, because it works. And that's the thing. That's how you can tell a theory or a piece of information or some data or anything is really good, because it doesn't change. It hasn't been disproved by anything else, right? And simply, a lot of people, especially the ego brands, like I was talking about on my last show, which I fixed the audio, guys, if you want to check that out. A lot of the guys that are ego brands, like Be Like Me, It Worked For Me, they're just trying to make their own red version of this, or they're trying to disprove a certain thing about the red pill. But the thing is, they're doing it because it's out of ego. Like, oh, this certain thing didn't work for me, or I don't agree with this, and I want to show you why. But then what they're doing is that, hey, I know this worked for people, but it doesn't work for me, and that means it shouldn't work for you. If it doesn't work for me, it shouldn't work for you, right? And that's you see different versions of this. Like, you have people say, "Hey, get off the dating apps because the dating apps are trash," right? Meanwhile, like, I got most of my lays from dating apps, right? And I'm not super handsome or anything special, but it's just I put in the work for a good profile, right? And people get really dogmatic about this stuff, and they're missing the point. The point isn't who's right or who has the best brand or who's the best, right? The point is we want to find out what works and share the information, share the knowledge, so we can all be happy. whether you want to be married, whether you want to be spin plates, whether you just want to take a break, whether you want to have a wife, whatever. The point is, we want men to find solutions to their problems and move on, right? And that's why it's so easy to out people in this space, because you just simply have to ask, how does this help me personally? Is this piece of information relevant? Is this piece of information make me a better person? Is this going to help me get fix my marriage, or get laid more, or protect me against the opposite sex and their behavior? Like, is this helpful? Always ask that when people get on these shows, or these whatever entertainment or media you consume about dating. Like, ask yourself, is this helpful? I will tell you right now that if you see a bunch of girls or women on a show with lots of opinions, and they're just saying their opinions, it's not going to help you much, right? Obviously, you could see it as like, okay, most women think alike, blah blah blah. But like, in terms of like, hey, is this piece of information, is what I'm consuming getting me closer to my goals? You always ask yourself that. The best people in this space are kind of have two sides to them, right? There's the 10,000-yard stare, where they take a look at human behavior, and coupled with their interactions, their personal interactions with women, coupled with experiences they've garnered from other guys, and they put it all together, and they're like, okay, this is what I've seen, and this is how women are. And does anyone agree? Oh yeah, a guy over there agrees, and then we come together, and then slowly, we start connecting nodes, right? And eventually we have a group of men sharing notes, right? Um, but the red pill is not a group, right? If any of those nodes fail, there's plenty of other people to connect and talk, unless you want to get rid of the internet, and that's never going to happen. So, uh, yeah. And then there's the other side. The other side is basically the the side of like, where they themselves have experience in the real world doing things, right? Um, and that's why I say, when women get up here and talk about red pill intersexual dynamics, be very careful, because either they're just copy pasting from someone else. We know the people that do that. They're just saying something, or they're taking something that they took personally, a red pill maxim they took personally, and they're trying to debunk it or disprove it because they took it personally. They think that this stuff is about them, right? How narcissistic do you have to be to take a tool that a lot of guys have used to change their tires, or fix something in their house, like a light fixture in their house or the plumbing, and pick it up and say, this tool doesn't work? How narcissistic do you have to be to say that? We'd all laugh at you, right? But here's the problem: women are women, and men are attracted to women, and we kind of give them a little space in here and be like, hey, yeah, you can hang out here in this little corner, you can talk. And then what we get is a lot of confusion, a lot of wasting time, arguing with people. And then, it's just, you're not arguing with a rational a person that's like trying to doing it in good faith, trying to help you. You're arguing with someone that took a piece of the red pill personally. It bothers them, and they don't like when men talk about self-improvement. Self-improvement to them is like astrology. What astrology is to us, they think it's silly. They think that we just so happen to understand women out of nowhere, that we just so happen to build muscle and build wealth and build experience and maturity. They think that just happens, but it doesn't. It takes a long time, for men to become attractive, um, some longer than others, but it does take longer than women instantly, out the gate. So it's very strange that we even give people like that the time of day online, whether it be on a Reddit forum, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on YouTube, on a podcast interview, right? Now I understand there's a marketing that goes into it, where having a girl with titty meat out, booby meat, saying something ridiculous will get your podcast off the ground, right? But is it useful, or are you just using it for entertainment value? Most likely, it's just entertainment value, right? Um, and that's my rant around that. Make sure you guys know. I already talked about it in the last show, but be very careful what you consume. Make sure that you always ask yourself, this is entertainment. None of this is real. It doesn't matter what goes on in the show. It is not indicative of my reality, right? This is just, what is in front of you in your town, in your city, at your job, in your dating life. What is the problems and I'm telling you right now, a lot of guys stay stuck in this whole swirl and the maelstrom of just like, oh, I don't like women. Women are crazy and this save the West and all that stuff, right? But then you realize, like, dude, you don't have forever. You know, the time you spend worried about what other women thousands of miles do with their bodies, what objects they shove inside of them for money. You know, what conservative bro said to degenerate girl. Like, let them have their war. That doesn't. It's okay as long as you can separate. Hey, this is like entertainment. This is like Jerry Springer, and then this is my real life. And that was my key, guys, because when I got to Dallas and I finally said, hey, I'm going to double down this dating stuff. I never had the opportunity to date in a big city. I'm going to do it. I really separated the whole online stuff with my real life. You know, I kind of uh, i I made the people who I follow for advice of like three people, right? Obviously, you had the Red Pill, the people who produced content on the Red Pill. You know, I'd watched them, but I read the Irrational Male in 2014, right? I'm coming on my 10th year anniversary, so I knew the concepts. Obviously, I kept reading the books, and the books were very valuable to me in reading them. But I was like, okay, I know intersectional dynamics much more than I used to. I've studied. Now let's go out in the field. Let's go test this stuff out. Let's go talk to women. And slowly but surely, I started like realizing, okay, these are the things that girls like about me. I'm going to start leveraging that. Okay, these are the openers and the things that are working. I'm going to use those. Okay, some guy that I follow said this. I'm gonna follow his advice. Hey, it's working. And then here we are today, and I'm talking to you about my experiences. And that's how it should work, you know. Um, and that's how my knowledge should be passed on to help other guys, right? There's like female dating coaches that charge $350 for an hour with them. What do you think they can tell you? They don't have your testosterone level. They don't know, they don't understand what it is to be in front of a girl that's hot and the stakes are high and you have to somehow get her back to your place. You know, they don't know what that pressure is and they'll never know. So it's like very narcissistic for them to have all these opinions on dating and red pill where they don't have that testosterone and they don't have that drive that we do and that need for female sexuality that we so crave. You know, um, so take what they say with a grain of salt, right? So start like subtracting all these things in your mind. I know it's hard because it's pervasive. You know, you open your Instagram, you just want to see some funny bro humor on your reels, and you have like three girls. First of all, you have like two girls. Like you can look up, let's say, anime or Shiba Inus, and then you'd be like, oh, nice, Demon Slayer, nice, One Piece, and all of a sudden you have like a girl with like massive titties shaking her titties with the Luffy's straw hat, right? Luffy's straw hat back there, and you're just like, what the heck? And because you saw it 3 seconds, and you know the algorithm's like, oh, he likes this stuff. He saw it for 3 seconds, so you're constantly getting smut. You're constantly getting female opinions. You're constantly getting defeatism programmed into your brain over and over again for months, right? So it's like that defeatism starts creeping into your life, right? And it takes a lot to pull you out of that. And I suffer from that from time to time. You know, I've decided to contribute to this space, and I decided to make content. So I have to really sit down and be like, okay, I'm about to enter a space where there's a lot of stupid people and with stupid opinions who don't have any experience dating. You know, the guys that had like 1 year where they had 10 lays and all of a sudden they're a dating coach. Girls that went through a breakup, don't like men very much, decided to be a career girl, had sex with two millionaires in a row, and all of a sudden they're on a podcast wearing office attire talking about men this, men that. You know, you have to understand that what I did was simply go out there and live my life. And I went after what I wanted. Um, but yeah, uh, you have to really subtract all that negativity. I don't know. I'm talking a lot of woo woo science, like a lot of woo woo, like positivity, negativity. I know that doesn't really appeal to us men. You know, it's silly. But I'll tell you right now, like seriously, be very careful what you look at and what you let, because it the world is already taking you for granted as a man. The world already looks down on you. You don't need to go online and deal with more of that, right? Take it for what it is. They're just silly people online with silly lives, and they probably failed in a large part of your life with the opposite sex, and now they're trying to project that on you, right? Let me read some of these chats. We got Godspeed. in the chat, Mr. No there at all. Mr. No there at all. Okay. Some of them are. Assume, don't obsess, guys. What he's saying is that all women are like streetwalkers today, and I'm like, just assume that they're promiscuous and don't obsess. You're fine. Problem solved. See how easy that was, guys? Like everyone wants you to get like really emotional about like what women do with their bodies behind your back. And I'm telling you, as a guy that has dated, has seen what behind the scenes of like how women's lives are, um, a lot of them are as bad as you think, right? But understand too that you don't have to worry about that. Like, think about it. You don't have to worry. I know a lot of you guys are like, "Whoa, well, I want a girlfriend one day." I'm like, dude, as the years go by, you get smarter, more attractive, more muscular, more experienced, cooler, funnier, all these things, more well read, more important to your job, more confident. The leverage starts turning in your favor, right? So don't worry about the relationship as a mindset is going to kill you. It's going to ruin you as a man. It's like it constrains you, right? Go out there. You're a gift. You're a gift to society, and you're a gift to women. The reason women fight so hard to make us feel like we're not is because they're afraid of men that think like that, and because it's true. I'm going to say that again. The reason all these femme-centric institutions, podcasts, ways of thinking, academia, all that kind of denigrate us, whether it be directly or subconsciously or whatever way, is because they know deep down that men are the prize of society. Men are incredibly much more important than we give credit. Give them credit for. So what happens is they have to actively tell us we suck. Actively, like time every day. Like if someone really sucks, we don't need to remind them every day that they suck, right? They know that they suck, right? We don't need to remind them, but they need to remind you suck, because in reality you don't really suck. You are probably a cool guy, and eventually if you keep doing the things you do and you lift some weights, which, dude, it's easy. You just go to the gym, lift heavy weights, and then eat a steak every day or eat a chicken every day. Simple. And then once a week, go nuts and eat whatever you want. uh, get 150 grams of protein, depending on your weight. And in 6 months you'll be jacked. In a year you'll be even more jacked. In 5 years you'll be much more jacked. And then in 10 years you'll be jacked and like relaxed, because you already figured everything there is to know about fitness. So the things that make us attractive, every day we get more attractive, and they resent that. Women resent a lot of things about men. And you have to understand that, like, if someone has to remind you every day that you suck, that you're not useful, that you're not good enough, blah blah, every day, right? It's because you are useful. They're just afraid of you accepting that you are useful. They have to constantly keep you down. And in order to beat that, you need to be your own point of origin. You need to be selfish, right? It's just the way it is. And sometimes women do it without knowing, and sometimes they do it knowing. They're very insecure. But yeah. Anyways, we got Opium Tales. How you doing, Opium? Nice to see you. We got Ocean Man. Nice to see you, man. We got Mastery Blueprint. Hey, Nuke. Andres here, joining late. Nice shirt. Hey, what's up, Andres? Nice to see you here. Hopefully, everything's going good. If you have any questions or anything, email me. I haven't checked my email today or yesterday, so sorry if you emailed me and I didn't answer. But nice to see you here, man. Men have it easier than women. If you think otherwise, you're doing something really wrong. Yeah, it's because the only reason men have it harder than women is because we have the keys to our own prison cell and we don't want to use them. Right? That's it. If any of you guys want to tweet that, go ahead. You guys can use that as a tweet. But the only reason men's lives are not as good as women's, because we literally we have the key to our own cell and we don't want to use it. We're scared of what's on the other side. I tell you, I was scared too, guys. I was super scared when I like came to Dallas and I just started swiping. I had 2 dates in 1 week. 3 dates in 1 week. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna lose myself. I'm gonna become crazy. I'm gonna become sex addict. What would God think? What would this thing? And I'm like, no. I went out and dude, I discovered something. I discovered something that like, first off, nobody cares what I'm doing. Like, no one cares. There's this one lady, this one older lady in my apartment building who saw me with like two girls, who would see me with girls for some reason. We walked outside. We always walked outside. She would walk her dog around the same time I would go out for a date or bring back a girl. And she would always see me. And all she did was smile at me even more, with bigger smile. And I think she kind of liked me after seeing how I like brought girls in and out, right? Um, but that's what I discovered. No one really cares what I'm doing. I'm literally insignificant. And then you have these guys that say no one really cares about men. I'm like, dude, when you're 31 and you got money and you're respected at your job, and you're like mature, you've taken your lumps, and now you kind of like you're hitting your stride in life. That is the best news you'll ever hear. That society doesn't care about men, because now you can do whatever you want, obviously within the law and within your own morals as a man. But you can do whatever you want. Like, for example, I'll give you an analogy that I've used. Right. Um. Uh. So let's say you go to the store and you're like, I'm feeling kind of like I've been working out really hard. I'm gonna have a cheat day, and I'm gonna have a decadent, disgusting cheat day with the most sugary, unhealthy thing. So, you see a big cheesecake, one of those big ones that could be used for like a birthday or something, right? Maybe like this big, you know, and you're just like, I'm getting that. My challenge. I'm gonna try to eat that whole cheesecake, and then you walk around with the cheesecake. Is anyone asking if you're gonna eat that cheesecake all by yourself? No. You know what they're going to assume? Oh, he has a birthday party. Or, oh, he's a little activity, a work activity, an office party, or a birthday, or an anniversary, or a retirement, or something. Right? So everyone's going to be like, oh, that's so wholesome. He has a cheesecake. You know, Look at this young guy. He's probably doing it for his friend or his girlfriend or whatever. And then you go to the checkout, and then you're nervous because, like, oh, I hope no one finds out. I'm going to eat this cheesecake all by myself. And it's like nobody checks. Nobody checks. Nobody asks that you're going to eat that cheesecake all by yourself, unless you tell them. Then they'll have like a nervous laugh and they'll be like, "What's wrong with this guy? He's gonna eat this whole thing? Like, is he all right?" But other than that, you check out, you buy the cheesecake, you can leave, and no one cared at all. Same thing with dating, right? You can go out with a beautiful girl, and then people will be like, "Oh, like, cool. Um, Look at this nice little couple." But deep down, you're just like, "I'm going to smash this girl later." You know. The point is that no one cares. No one freaking cares. Live life on your terms. The fact that they say no one cares about men, it sucks in your 20s, because in your 20s that would have been nice for people to care a little bit, but they didn't, and you pulled yourself out anyway. Good for you. I did. Obviously, I had help with coworkers. I had support from family. I had books to read. I had support. I looked for help, which you as a man should too, especially in your 20s. But as a whole, society didn't really care. And I was like, damn, that sucks. And I got so depressed in my 20s because of that. But then I hit 30, and then I quietly was like living my life on my own terms almost. And I was like, wait, I like that no one cares what I'm doing. This is nice. And then I moved on with my life. And I thought the best news ever is to have someone that, or is to have like a life where no one cares, right? Aside from the people you actually want to care, like your friends and your family, your girlfriend if you have one, and maybe what if you make content, people, your followers like you guys stuff. But yeah, nobody cares. Yeah, so um, yeah, that's my rant about one of the things that I found out. The other thing I found out too was that like there's there's a power in going after the things you want in life, right? A lot of guys are following the path of what they were told was the right thing. You know, for example, a lot of guys maybe grew up and they thought like, hey, getting bitches and hoes was like the peak priority in life. And then they did it for 6 months or a year. And they're like, yeah, it's nice, but like this isn't fulfilling at all. This is boring. Like same, either I need to go do something else in my life or get married or get a girlfriend. And there's guys that are just like, oh, you need to get married right away. And then they got married, or they constantly were searching for that right girl. And then they realized, like, wait, I don't even want a classy girl. I just want to have sex with promiscuous women, like tatted up, fake boobs, pierced nose. Hell yeah, I want to do that, and they're happy, and they're happy to have women around them like that because they just always wanted that freedom. And that's the thing, guys. Another part of this stuff is like you need to know what you want, and I realize what I want is like I want to get all this data. I want to get it out of my system, you know. Um, and I realize like I physically like women. Like I like women a lot to the point where like I'm willing to do certain things to get to them, which means move to a city and learn game and do all these. Like I said, hey, I want this. This is what it takes to get it. I'll do it, and that's simple as that. How bad do you want it? Because a lot of these guys online don't seem to want it that bad. They'd rather argue, complain, try to change society, try to legislate things. Oh, we need to cancel abortion. I'm like, dude, good luck with that. And they say that because they don't want to put in the work that it takes. They kind of like, well, if we level the playing field, then I'll have a chance of getting laid and then eventually having a good girl. And I'm like, no, dude, you can't wait on that. It would be nice, but you can't wait on that. You have to kind of step forward and take your dating problems, your reproductive problem in your own hand and take it by the horns. And another thing I realized is that I didn't feel like I was a better human being because I was like dating multiple women. It didn't make me feel like I was better than anyone. Honestly, I just kept it secret. Like I would tell people close to me, but I wouldn't tell coworkers. I wouldn't tell family. I wouldn't tell my best friend. I didn't tell him like I was just running through girls. I did not tell him, my best friend, because I didn't want him to think. I didn't want him like that. It's not that this is not who I am. Right? It's just something I do. Who I am, I'm an ex nuclear Navy sailor. I'm Dominican. I like to play music. I own a dog. This is my personality. This is what I like. Those are what make me me. But me going out, and let's say I go out and hook up with a chick, that doesn't define me at all. Who I hook with. It could have been a fat chick. It could have been an ugly chick. It could have been a gorgeous model, right? That doesn't define who I am. And that's another thing that the women are hate because we can go out and we can slump bust and hit up a fat chick or an ugly chick, and the next day we're still a partner at the law firm, or we're still a doctor, and we're still this and we're still that. But when women go out and slump bust with men, they don't feel so good, right? That doesn't make them feel better. For us, it's like if your friends find out, it's a funny story where you can laugh at. But for women, they have to forget. They have to literally block it out their mind that they slept with the mistake. So relish in the things that make being a man great. And you don't understand, as a man, you have the keys to your own cell. And a lot of times, it's not that you don't know how to use them. It's that you're afraid to use them because you're afraid what's on the other side. Whether it be judgment from family and friends, whether it be rejection is another fear that men have, whether it be the work you have to put in, right? I still struggle with things I have to do. Like I want a certain level of woman, and it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. Like a 7 out of 10 girl that's not crazy. Those are tough. That's under 26, or that's 26 and under. 27 if she's amazing, right? That's tough. That's not easy. There's a lot of work to be done to get a girl, but not because women are bad. It's because technology has turned women into something else. They have like I have a lot of options, and now they don't need us as much because they have jobs and all that stuff. So back then, when there's like, hey, I should probably get married because life's going to get hard if I don't. Now life's still going to be equally the same. As a matter of fact, for them, getting married could mean that life gets harder for them. Because what if they marry a loser, or marry a controlling guy, an abuser, or a guy that's just is boring and just doesn't give them that passionate kind of personality that they need, especially Latinas, right? There's a lot of risk for women to get in a relationship now, much more than before, because the risks outweigh the benefit to them. For us, we're just like, you get married. It's like you get like a mechanic, a plumber, a finance advisor, a sex coach. Because like if you're good enough at sex, then you can teach her how to have sex. All these things, but they don't see it like us. They see all risk. Like they see that getting with a guy that's average is which let's say I'm average, is a risk. It's crazy. It's dangerous, right? So they run out the clock, so to speak. Understand, as a guy, you have a lot of advantages. You just got to use your key to get out the cell, and I used mine, and it was I'm not gonna lie, it was very scary. It's very scary. Um, I felt kind of strange the first week. I had like multiple women in 1 week over. I felt like, what's wrong with me? Like maybe I'm an addict or something. And I realized, no, I'm still the same person. I didn't change at all. I was still the same guy. I was just sexually satisfied and more confident. None of the women asked about if I was with other women. They weren't. None of them were jealous. You know. Um, and I just went from there and I moved on. I just kind of like kept doing my thing, and it was fun. It was very fun. It was very exciting. It was very tiring sometimes because having multiple, like Rob from Rob says, one of the biggest things you'll miss is sleep, because you'll get into this thing where you're just like, I just want to keep going. I just want to keep going, right? And that's okay. And to you guys, it may seem a daunting task, like impossible task, right? But it always starts with one. You only need that one or two approach, and that one girl hot lay with a girl that's incredibly hot to like get that power of belief in your system, right? And it's funny because once you get that hot chick, you'll be like, oh, this is it. This is what men pay thousands of dollars to fly to them to Miami. This is what men go crazy for online. This is what men have huge opinions about. This is what men, and you'll realize like, oh, great. Like, she's a hot chick and I hooked up with her. Moving on. Like, I got work tomorrow, or I got this responsibility, I got that responsibility. And then you're just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And you move on. It's not a big deal. Ben Frost says, in street interviews, women say they would prefer to have a boyfriend below their league, while women say that prefer a girl above their league. Okay, women say that they prefer a boyfriend below their league, while women say they prefer a girl above their league. I guess you're mixing the genders here, but I'm going to assume that you mean women. Okay, women prefer a boyfriend below their league, right? Okay, that makes sense. And while women say they prefer a girl like a. Okay, I think I know what you're saying. Oh, okay, you fixed it here. Well, men say okay. Um, yeah, but understand, leagues is a defeatist mindset. You know, leagues is something. Don't worry about leagues. If you have a hot chick and you're in an environment where it's appropriate, or you match with her, or you're at a salsa night, or a charity event, or a sport event, or wherever you meet her, and you think you should approach her, then approach her. There's no harm, no foul. Um, Ben Fast says, my cookie in the pocket got COVID and she flies back to Philly tomorrow. If you know, you know. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm glad did you read the article or watch the video? Because I have an article on Patreon where I like write about it. But yes, if you guys don't know, cookie in the pocket is basically, um, yeah, a lot of guys tend to get really like take rejection or like ghosting personal, right? So what happens is they'll be hooking up with a chick, and the chick will disappear, like gone, right? Or just not, or just every time you say, hey, let's hang out, she'll be like, oh, I'm busy, or not respond, or respond late. Um, and you're just like, oh, screw this chick, and then you kind of like block her, delete her, or even worse, you send her a message saying, hey, I don't like your behavior, whatever bullshit that you send, right? Instead, just don't take it personally. Like, hey, try once. Hey, you want to hang out? She ghosts you. Medium is a message, right? And just put her back on the shelf, because she might show up later, right? Put her in your pocket, right? And I got the cookie in the pocket because when I was in the military, and I was like getting food, sometimes there would be cookies out and they were wrapped in plastic. And I'm like, I'm not really hungry for a cookie, but I'll save this cookie for later, right? And I would put it in my pockets, and my coverall pockets were so deep I wouldn't feel it. So the next day when I went to work, I put on the same coveralls again, and then I'm having a bad day, or I'm busy, or I'm having my morning coffee, and I reach in my pocket and there was a cookie, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank God I forgot about this, or thank God I saved this for later because now this is awesome, right? And that's the thing. Instead of throwing that cookie away when I didn't want it, I saved it and just forgot about it. And then later on, it just popped up out of nowhere. And guess what? You have another girl that adds to your rotation, another girl to break a slump, you know, um, and there's no reason to get all emotional. Just like it's the game, you know. Women are. It's not your fault. Women leave you for the most part, so don't worry about it. Like if she goes to you or something like that, just put her on the shelf, and whenever she wants to come back into your life, if ever, she'll message you, right? And then you can be like, hey, let's go get drinks. Oh, hey, let's hang out. And then you got to act like nothing happened. Like her leaving you was like no big deal, right? Yeah. Ben Fast says, "Yep, women know when men realize their worth, then Ghana Syndrome cartel ends and balance is restored." Yeah, it's just men knowing their worth is very dangerous to the status quo, right? And you can see it, like all the trads, the liberals, the e-thoughts, the whatever group of women, lower faction of women, they're all in the belief of one thing: they want to make you feel you're worth less than you are, right? If I buy a house and I am in charge of taking care of you, and I give you and I provide for you, and I provide for the children, and I'm your rock, and I do all these things as a man, and not only that, I run the risk of losing it all because I sign a contract saying, "Hey, marriage, if you get divorced, me, you get cash and prizes, right?" And you get mad because I have like some small calendar in my garage where I work on the cars to take that help you get to work and help me get to work and build and fix the things around my house. And you're mad because that's degenerate or something, or it makes you look bad. Then I don't want to be with a woman like that. You know, I want to be with a woman that that doesn't give a shit, that understands and values that, like, hey, he's a man, you know. And I'll tell you right now, guys, as a Latin guy, as a Hispanic guy, that is one of the biggest shocks that I had when I came to the United States as a young man, um, to join the military. Because I left the United States for a while. I lived in Puerto Rico for like 10 years, and then I came back, and then I started dating. And I wasn't dating in the United States when I was younger. I was a kid, but like now when I joined the military, my biggest kind of shock was that women did not understand men at all. All my behaviors were like strange to them. They didn't get it. In Latin America, women know that we like have semi-naked women on um on posters. They're totally fine with it. They're like, yeah, men will be men. That's who they are. Like, I don't understand how these women that are like 30, 40 with like 4 kids, they don't understand men. They like refuse to sit down and be like, what are men like? These are the way men like. These are the way men. These are the way, excuse me, men are. um why can't I understand? Why can't I just sit down and understand them and accept them for who they are? They refuse to do that. That is a totally American Western thing, and it's tough because as a guy, I get tired of explaining to women like how I am, right? They'll be like, you'll tell a woman, um like I was on a podcast once, and I was like, I asked the ladies a question, right? I was like, hey, your your man comes in through the door and he's visibly upset. He had a bad day at work. What's the first thing you do? And they're like, oh, rush to him, give him a hug, tell him I understand. I'm like, no, no, no. You leave him the hell alone. Every household in Latin America knows that. When my dad would come home pissed off, and he was in the Navy too, he would have rough days. My mom was like, hey, your father, stay away from your father right now. The house was silent when he got home. Super silent. Our mothers knew men. They understood men, right? Women don't want to understand men because they don't want to. It's not because they're ignorant. It's not because they weren't taught. It's because they don't want to. And here comes the question about genuine burning desire. Again, connecting the dots here, right? The Miami trip stuff, the girls' night debacle, where guys are like, you have to set that boundary. I'm like, let me ask you this, guys. So if women refuse to accept men for who they are, but they actually do know how we are, they just don't want to accept it, right? Then they would understand, like, hey, me going to go to a place that's full of people that are trying to have sex with me and get me drunk, and I'm going to be encouraged to shake my ass in one of the most notorious slutty cities in the world, which is Miami or New York or LA, then I like that would bother him, right? That should bother him because he loves me, and also he can't protect me in case something happens to me, right? Plus, also, why am I drinking? It's unhealthy. Why am I getting drunk with my girlfriends? My girlfriends don't care about my relationship. Like, there's so many reasons why it would bother him for you to go do something like that, or a girls' night, or Vegas, right? And then now you're like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. And these same girls go on podcasts or on X.com and say, no, it's unsecured. I'm like, you don't care. You know why. You know why it bothers men. Don't be stupid. You do it anyway. You do it anyway because you've discovered that in America, if you play dumb, if you play like you don't know how men are, you don't understand them, then it gets you very far. But guys, start holding don't hold them accountable, but start accepting that women have agency. They know what they're doing, but they're doing it anyway. Simple as that. And life gets so much easier. So much easier when you accept that women have agency, right? There is no debate. Even if they don't, even if somehow they're just like automatons and they wake up in the morning, they put in a chip in their brain and they do exactly what the algorithm in the chip says, right? What they're programmed to do. Accepting to have agency makes your life easier, right? Women aren't stupid. There are women scientists. There are women doctors. There are women everything, right? Um, they're not dumb. They're not idiots. They're not like complete idiots. They want to participate in society. They want to go online. They want to constantly denigrate me based on using science and examples and data. Like, because that's what they do. They're like, oh, I'm not only going to denigrate you emotionally. I'm going to use science and facts and data to make you feel even a bigger loser than you are, even though that it's not going to help you. It's not doing anything, right? So they do that, and yet men are still like, no, they need, their children. I'm like, really? Start treating them like they have agency, and we'll see what happens in your life. Um, First thing's gonna happen is that you're gonna stop putting in effort to women that are not putting in effort to you. And you're like, okay, hey, if my friend was treating me the way this girl was, I'd drop my friend. So what's special about this girl? Because you give me boxes. Girls are giving out sex like it's nothing these days. So, yeah, start. Women have agency. You know, start accepting that. It makes your life so much easier. You need to have as much peace as you can in your life as a man, or else you'll go crazy. You don't need drama to be happy as a guy. You don't. You don't need confusion. You don't need games. You're we're the peaceful sex. We don't need any of that. You know. But yeah. Uh, Anyways, most important lesson: don't storm the Capitol with a newborn on the way. Yeah, that is also a very important lesson. When it comes to this stuff. Let's see. Uh, I like how Latina and other non-American women in America just know how to be women, just taught inherently in the culture and through parents. Yeah, yeah. They know. I don't know what it is, but they know how we are. They know how men are. Where do you think the jealousy comes from Latino women? It's because they know that women that men like multiple women. They know that. That's why that the Latinos are so jealous. It's because they know that men inherently like variety, right? And that's why they're just like American women are just like, if you like variety, something's wrong with you. I'm like, no, no, I like variety because that's the way I was made. I was constructed this way from the ground on a cellular DNA level. I was programmed to every single girl that's attractive to be attracted to her, right? I cannot help it. I want to sleep with as much women as I can. It's what brought us to this point in humanity. But Latinas from where I'm from know this. So like, obviously they don't go about it probably the healthiest way. They're jealous. They'll burn your house down. They'll pop your tires or whatever. But they inherently know that guys like multiple women. It's not like a surprise to them. They don't go on podcasts all broken because, oh, my man, likes other women besides me. It's like they grew up. Like women tend to be like here. It's just like you got to explain to them like, hey, I don't know if you told this, but like, if you don't have sex with your man, he's gonna cheat on you. You know that, right? Like men have a need, and they're, our need for sex is very much higher by multiple magnitudes than yours. So you need to have sex with your guy, or else he's gonna find it somewhere else. Do you understand that? No, but this. I'm like, no, 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 no. You need to grow the fuck up. This is real life. If you want the things that people covet, like a relationship, then you have to understand that comes with certain things. But I guess we coddled them so much to the point where now it's just like, now we have women mad that men that men buy calendars with hot women on them. When we've been doing that for generations. Why now? Why is it different now? And men apparently were better men back then and more masculine. So what's the difference now? Feminism, gynocentrism. That's the difference. But yeah. All right. Oof, what a rant. I need to take a break. Anyways, guys, anything you guys want me to talk about before I move on? Before I move on to a new topic. Anyways, yeah. So essentially, a lot of the reason we're in this mess is because men can't value themselves. They constantly have to make space for women's way of thinking. And also, another reason we don't get far in this space is because men want to hold women accountable in a public place, and they want to kind of like change the landscape. They want to band together, get together, and like, oh, we got to work together. I'm like, no, we're not in this together. So there's like so many mistaken paths you could take, and I'm here to tell you that the best path you could take is to hyper focus on yourself and make yourself your own point of origin, and watch how your life improves. Right. Marriage Calls Divorce for the $5. Thank you, sir. You get one of these.
Thank you so much, best friend.
Thank you. Why has the problem so Jezebel, 04's Lilith's disobedient wives, and Delilah's treasonous women been going on since biblical times 2,000 years ago? It's because that's how women are. Women have always had that innate thing, It's like there's this tweet like that I saved, and it's a popular tweet that people kind of like retweet or like upload for a reaction. It's like women post stuff like this and wonder why every single religion and culture across time has restricted their autonomy. It's because like I want women to go do whatever they want. Like, I don't want to control anyone. That's exhausting. Like, I don't want to like meet a girl and be like, hey, do it my way and live life the right way. That's exhausting. I was in a religious cult and it sucked, and I hated telling other people how to live. I just wanted friends and to be happy. But now we're seeing in a time where people think like me, right? Where like people should do whatever they want, not because I care about them. It's because I'm tired. I don't care about people. I care about me, but understand that there's repercussions. In life, there's trade-offs, right? And here's the thing. Again, this is the key to the cell thing again, right? A lot of guys will look at this landscape and be like, it's all over. Hope is lost, right? But let me tell you this. You've never had so much information and science and data to help you get fit. You never had so many apps. You've never had so much available doctors or through apps and opinions to help you get fit. You've never had so many fitness programs tailored to you, your lifestyle, and everything. You never had so much food and ways of ingesting food and cooking recipes than now in history. So you got that going for you. You've never had the ability to just go out and hook up anonymously with girls that you don't know through Tinder, from girls that you weren't supposed to ever even meet, right? There's a special kind of like spark in your body that you get once you meet a girl that you were never supposed to meet, whether it be a racial imbalance, like a girl that racially you don't see a lot, You know, like let's say you're a Dominican brown guy for me, and you're hooking up with like a Taiwanese girl, right? That's not supposed to happen. You know, that's a very rare combination. Like you don't see. When was the last time you saw a Dominican guy and a Taiwanese girl holding hands? Those are the things that kind of give you a spark in your brain, and you're just like, though I complain a lot, like this is something that would have never happened if I didn't have technology and the landscape wasn't the way it was. Right? You can order food instantly through Uber Eats. You know, you can ghost people, and it's almost acceptable now. Like if you got a girl that's a bitch or treating you bad, you could just be like block. You know, and that's acceptable. You don't have to see them the next day ever again. Like a lot of things that hurt us, also we can use to our advantage, right? So you have to look at this and realize that women have always been women. Now they have a choice to not settle down with the first guy. You don't get to have a woman's heart forever just because you came first before someone else, right? And also, all you got to do now is kind of like work a little harder to be more attractive, right? Which is, you know, the bar is low, guys. The bar is kind of low, and also you have to kind of like wait a little longer to find a good girl because most girls have seen all this power they get in the dating market and decided to be bad people, bad girlfriends, bad wives, right? And sometimes it's because they were with a guy that let them do whatever they want, or with a guy that was weak, and they kind of just that's shaped their worldview, or they they have depression and they have all these things because of their lives are so easy or full of excess because they are attractive or because they are simply a woman that these things have consequences, right? So it takes a little longer to find a good girl, but don't lose hope, right? A lot of podcasts and a lot of people are making money off you losing hope, and you don't want to be. You are the product. You don't want to be the product. You want to be the solution to your own life, and take it for what it is. You're allowed to get frustrated sometimes. I do. You're allowed to just say, "Hey, I don't want to date right now. I'm done. Like, screw these hoes." Right? You're allowed to say that. You're allowed to have a red pill rage phase. You're allowed to struggle with women from time to time. You're allowed to get maybe attached to a girl you shouldn't, and make a mistake and be like, "Hey, oops, I'm a man. I make mistakes." You're allowed to, hey, there's this unattractive girl that's like throwing it at me. I'm gonna go hook up with her. No one's gonna know, and if your friends find out, they'll still love you. They'll make fun of you, but they'll still love you. No one cares, right? And you just gotta accept that, like, one of the reasons that this is making you miserable, if it is because you were entitled to something. You grew up thinking that if you did the bare minimum, which is get a job, that a girl would just fall in your lap by way of just like serendipity. Like a girl would just meet with you out of nowhere and it would happen. But that's not the case. You have to take action. But I tell you this, what the most positive message for men is that you have agency, right? You have the ability to change things. It might not be perfect, it may not be a perfect scenario for you. But at the end of the day, you got to do something. And, sometimes you just need that one little spark to get you over the edge, right? Have you guys struggled playing a video game? Let's say Call of Duty, and every day you played, you got like 3 kills and 13 deaths, or like 3 kills and 21 deaths, and you're just like, I suck, and you're about to quit, and then one day you get like 15 kills, 5 deaths, and you're just like, wait a minute, let me keep playing a little bit, right? And then you get another day, you get like 5 kills and 6 deaths. You're like, okay, that ratio is not that bad. As compared to, you slowly realize, like, man, this was slower and more painful than I thought it would be. This getting good at this video game. It's happening, but I thought it was just going to be a switch overnight. No, it's slow and painful, and you're gonna realize, like, it is a slow and painful process at first, but you're gonna get to a point where it's like, you get over the hump, and you realize the hump was never like you weren't jacked enough, or you didn't have enough money, or you didn't, or you weren't handsome enough, or you didn't have the right facial hair, or whatever you think it is. The hump was simply, you needed evidence that it was true, that this could be possible. And the only person that can provide evidence directly is you. Now, obviously, I can provide evidence. I can put my ugly mug on a screen on Twitter, and then next to a hot chick. That way, you guys kind of like look and be like, oh, okay. if Nuke can do it, then I can do it. It's not like he's not Andrew Tate or he's not super rich. He's like a normal guy, you know. He has a good job, but obviously he's 34. He should have a good job by now. But for the most part, it's just that's what you need. That little thing that like, hey, this is real. This can happen. And I'm telling you, that's the hardest one to achieve, right? That 15 kill, 5 death ratio is going to be one of your hardest games that you've ever played, because once you get past a certain point, you're like, I hope I don't fail. I got to be perfect. You're going to be like perfectionist, right? You're going to be worried about everything you do. Compare that to a hot chick, right? You're going to be in a situation where you're going to have the hottest chick that you've ever had, whether it be at a salsa night, whether it be approaching her at the gym, whether it be approaching her outside, whether it be on a dating app. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be like, man, I'm going to screw this up. There's so much that can go wrong. But then you block it all out. You'll be like, whatever, tunnel vision. I'm going to ask her to meet up. And it happens. You meet up and you make out. You're just like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? This is crazy. You know, this is not supposed to happen. And you have all these feelings and you realize that's the self-doubt leaving your body, the years of all the content you watched about women saying how worthless you are as a man. And because you're not 5'7", 5'8", or 6'5" or 6'7", whatever height. That's that kind of like all that shit that's slowly leaving your body. And you know you're going to start developing a shit-eating grin now every time you watch this content, because you know that like, oh shit, that self-doubt that they installed by watching all this stupid content all the time, I uninstalled it. I took the chip out of my brain, or I ripped it out. You know, like a Spider-Man symbiote out of my chest. You know, I ripped out by taking action, because that's what a lot of people want you to do. They don't want you to take action. You have to take action. That's the only way you'll go from being black-pilled to being hopeful of the future and happy. You have to take action. If you don't take action, you're gonna look at all this and you're gonna be like, oh no, it's over. There's nothing I can do, right? And it's so scary. But once you get over that one kernel, that one piece, that one girl, that one video game, whatever, that one campaign in Call of Duty, or that one map in Call of Duty, where you get that 15 kill, 10 death ratio, which isn't that crazy, but it's like much better than sucking, right? You're going to realize like, holy shit, it's possible. And I'm doing it. I'm like right here. I'm right here in that moment. It's like magical. Your face, there's like it's a rush on your face. You feel like you're like your skin feels like it's crawling, because your body telling you, hey, fucking focus. This is it. This is like what is going to elevate you from from a low status complaining blue pill or black pill dude to one of the boys, one of us, one of the guys that believe in themselves, right? This is it. This is the part. Right, so you get nervous and your hair stands on edge, and the girl's in front of you and she's smiling and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna ask me out to date her or what?" And you're just like, yeah, let's go out." And then you go out and then maybe you kiss her, maybe you hook up, maybe just the fact that she was into you, and even though maybe she goes to later, you start realizing, wait a minute, this shit is way possible. I just needed to get my head out of my ass. And then you start saying, so if it's possible, how do I make it more possible? How do I make this easier? So you're like, wait, let me clean up my gym routine even more and my diet. Let me, because imagine if my physique and my health was better. I can make this happen again. And you start caring more, because now your investment is starting to pay off. Like you see a possibility, and that's what you need to achieve, that possibility in front of you for anything in life, you know? And a lot of guys, like Ocean Man saying, like you can see this in like when we play video games, right? You're playing a tough video game, or a video game that's like, especially online, where you have the competition's fierce, and you play it and you're just like, you keep losing, or you don't do so well, you're low rank. And one day you start realizing that like you're doing a little bit better. You're getting one more kill than usual. You're finishing the game a little bit faster than usual, the lap a little faster than usual. And you realize like, in order for me to get good at this stuff, it takes a lot of time. But once there's going to be a like inflection point, where it's just once you get to that inflection point and you just hold on for dear life and keep at it right there at that inflection point, you're like, oh, I'm entering Valhalla. This is it. I'm like moving on I'm leaving humanity behind right now. This is it. This is the point. And once you get past that point, it's like, it's downhill. You still have bumps. You'll still have like, you still up little small bumps, ups and downs, but it'll be 10 times easier than it was before. And that's what happened to me in 2021. Right, I opened those apps, started going through, and I'm like, oh, this is scary, like dating multiple women, it's got to be stressful, I don't think I can handle it, and then I started realizing, like, wait, I got this, like, I'm doing it, this is okay, and I'm learning so much, and and I'm just like, whoa, this is it, like, this is it, this is what people pay thousands of dollars for to learn. This is what guys are afraid to do, guys that are richer than me, more handsome than me, better looking than me, more social than me. This is what they're afraid of. This right here, what I'm doing, is like the most sought after skill in young men, is how to talk to women and get them to get laid. And I'm here in the middle of it. And it's like, holy shit, this is terrifying, but also exciting. And I did it. And I wish more guys would, like, when they're in that storm of learning about themselves and learning about women, and they're in that moment where just like they're about to leave humanity behind. They're about to leave the Twitter complainers behind, and they're about to jump into true abundance. They're about to jump into truly enjoying women and truly seeing themselves as a gift to women, right? That they relish in that, because that's one of the most beautiful parts of a man's life. It is literally one of the it's going to be more beautiful than your wedding, right? Because your wedding, you love your wife, right? Or you know whatever. But the moment you realize, you self-actualize as a man, and you transcend all that male hate towards you, and you realize that all along it was just a ruse to make yourself feel like not as good as you are, not as valuable as you are, you finally, the tethers that hold you break free, right? And you're done, right? You guys ever play God of War Ascension? Right? And Kratos in the beginning is like all tied up with the chains, and he's like, the fates, was it the fates? I forgot, or like taunting him and all that stuff. And he ends up escaping because it's Kratos, right? But for the most part, he's chained up, and then when he finally breaks free, and he goes through the game just tearing shit up, and just obviously he's looking for revenge, right? But like he's tearing shit up and fighting, and nothing can stop him, because like once you escape the prison, man, you're free. Like you got to figure out what powers you have and what you can do, because you didn't know you had the key to the cell, and you're like you open it, your hands shaking, and you walk it outside. And I'm like, wait, how high can I jump? How fast can I run? How far can I walk? How much do I need to eat? You start learning these things. The guys in the cell never learn that shit. They stay in the cell and they never learn what their abilities are their whole life. Instead, they go on Twitter or YouTube or make YouTube channels, and they're at the cell and they're like shaking, like "F you, you suck," and you're outside the shell, like looking at yourself, like, wait, how strong am I? Let me punch this wall. Okay, let me see how high I can jump. Let me see if I can touch the ceiling. Okay, am I hungry? What can I do? And they're yelling at you because you're actually discovering your powers, and they don't. They're still behind the cell, and the key is right in front of them on the floor, right next to them, and they're still yelling at you. And that's how I look at these guys. Literally, like I escaped the cell, and I'm stretching out. I'm trying to see what my powers are. This alludes to a certain movie that you guys saw that came out in 2001. I think it's called The Matrix. I'm sure you've heard of it, but it's like a different version of this analogy. And the guys are like right there, shaking the bars, yelling at you, say, "Get back in here!" And it's not only one type of guy; it's the tradcons. Get back in the cell, And you're just like, wait, hold on, let me stretch. Let me see what's it like. I already broke the cell. I'm terrified right now. My heart's racing, but I want to see what it's like outside. There's some cool stuff out there. I want to see nature. I want to see the world. I want to see, how fast can I run? I want to stretch my legs. And then you realize like so much power in that moment for a man, right? Because that cell is your parents. That cell is society, whatever that means, right? That cell is expectation. That cell is self-doubt. That cell is shame, humiliation. That cell is insecurity. And once you break from that cell, it's terrifying, but you start stretching out. You start looking, and you're like, wait, the girls I used to jerk off to on movies, on adult films, I'm now sleeping with them. Girls that look just like them, same level of attractiveness, if not better. They're texting me saying, "Hey," mad at me because I canceled a date with them because I wanted to do something else. All right, that's discovering your powers. Whereas the whole complex of smut that's saying, hey, instead of going out and doing this, go jack off instead. Or black pill doomers like, hey, give up. It's not worth it. Women are not worth your time, right? All these people are telling you to get back in the cell. The tricoms, get married and shackle your life to an ungrateful woman. You know, the liberals, you know, dedicate your life to a cause like helping people that hate you or people that waste your money and hate you. All these people. And then as a man, you're just like, oh, no, stop. I got powers to test out. I'm going to go test out my powers into the world. And that's basically the analogy, guys. That's the most important lesson of 2023. Leave the cell and test your powers. Your powers may be different from mine. You know, I have certain powers that I use when I leave the cell, and I'm like, wait, I can use this to get what I want. And I used it, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm getting what I want. And then you realize also, now you know what you want. You're like, okay, I'm leaving the cell. I never thought about what I wanted because I was in the cell for so long. What do I want now? And then I'm like, okay, I just want to go be a degenerate and have fun and enjoy women. And I did that. And I'm like, okay, cool. That was fun. I'm glad I left the cell because if not, I would have been watching another guy do it from the cell. You know, and you don't want that to happen. You know, you want to leave the cell and stretch and find out your powers. And I'm telling you, it's such a beautiful thing when another guy does it. It's such a beautiful thing, right? It's like you see a guy that finally breaks free, and he's living life in his own terms. He's in his own frame, and you look at this stuff, and you're just like, it reminds you of yourself. You know, you get a little sentimental because, like, hey, I was that scared guy who, you know, his whole life did what his mom and dad and what society and his job and morals and these arbitrary things and all that told him to do, until one day he was like, nah, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And you break free, right? So what a rant. But you guys get it. That's an excellent analogy, Nuke. Thank you. Like the video, guys. Like the video. Share it on Twitter, share it wherever. I'll keep going. Fuck it. I got nothing going on. This is one of your best videos, Nick. Thanks, Opium. I appreciate that. So yeah, and so sorry. Where was I going with this? Okay, next thing. So yeah, leave the cell. Learn about yourself. Do things on your own terms. Don't get arrested. Don't get hooked on drugs. Those are the two things I say. Don't. Those are the two number one things you have to worry about. Don't get arrested, and don't get hooked on drugs, and don't get a girl pregnant, unless you're in love, right? Which you most likely won't be in love in your 20s. But yeah, don't let them shackle you. Like look at your Twitter feed. If it's anything like mine, it's just a bunch of women saying it's your fault. Do better. That's all of it. The rat femmes. Tradcons, it's all your fault. Do better. That's all they got. When you realize that, that's part of the cell. That's that key that you need. You know, hey, you random man I don't know. You got to be better and step up. Step up for who? Set myself on fire for who? You don't care about me. What have the Tradcons even done for you? Tell me. What has any red pill guru done for you? They're not. They're your equal. We're all your equal. You're not better. I'm not better than you, right? I just am far along. I'm not better than you. Rolo is not better than you. Ryan Stone is not better than you, right? And another guys I podcast with are better than you. We're different. We're just different. These guys just took the time to their blog posts and their experiences and a little bit of data and their insight. They put it on a piece of paper and made it into a book and gave it to you for $14.99. But they're not your model, you know, they're not your model dad that you need to be up. You know, you are your own hero. They're never going to open the cell for you. You have to open the cell yourself. So, we got Grim Kai. Hey Nuke, how did you find the courage to show your face publicly, Twitter, podcast, etc., when talking about these topics? Have family, friends, or plates ever confront you about it? So my job is faceless. Like I work a remote job, and if they found out, I don't think they would fire me, so to speak. I'm very respectful, and I'm very hardworking. So, but if they did, I would just find another job. It's not a big deal. But I like my company, and I think it just got voted one of the 500 best places to work in the United States. And like they don't, I'm not face to face with them, you know. So there's that for the job stuff. And if they asked me to take it down, I would just go faceless, you know, or whatever. Um, Anything, my family, my dad sees it, but my dad doesn't is not that interested. And if he does see it, he doesn't tell me about it, so I don't care. My mom barely understands English, so she doesn't, you know. My brother, he watches it, but you know, he's doing his own thing. He understands this stuff. Like he's also read the Rational Mail and all that. And then plates, no, I issued a challenge on my personal Instagram for any girl to like. I'll put like, hey, anyone that like you're never gonna find my podcast or my YouTube, whatever you call this, my YouTube channel, right? Um, and yeah, it's what do you call it? It's pretty crazy. Um, Hold on, sorry guys. Um, it's pretty crazy that none of them were able to find it, and you know how women are. You know, obviously maybe they didn't care that much, but and then there's one or two girls that I know me that watch it, but they're just like, oh, this is weird relationship stuff, and they get bored and they leave. So it's not a big deal. But thanks. Um, Guys, follow me on Twitch. I'm 5 followers away from 50 followers, and I think that's what you need to get monetized or become a partner or whatever. I don't know. So follow me on Twitch if you haven't. But anyways, thanks for the question, Grim Kai. Play the game. Don't let the game play. Don't let the game play you. Sure. Thanks, Marriage Causes Divorce, for your comment. Um. Anyways, so yeah. Sorry, guys. Got to send off a text. Time intensive. Anyways, yeah. So, what was I saying? Right. So, uh, you don't want to take these things, this negativity, and kind of like accept it or let it affect you. It's hard, right? Just I would say, especially if you're up and coming, don't consume red pill content besides books, right? I know my stuff is helpful, but like if you notice that being online it just gives you a negative feeling, then it's okay to be like, hey, like I'm just gonna read the books and take a break because this stuff, like there's a lot of psychotic, fucked up people here, you know. Um, you may not have like the experience or the mental models or just the insight to look at a girl saying something online about how worthless you are as a man and take it as like, oh, she's just saying that. And you may not be there yet, you know. It's sad to see a lot of guys take that so literally, and they take what women say so literally, and they're like, and you guys get mad and retweet and quote tweet, you know. But understand that like a lot of women, I can tell you that they're just saying they're not speaking from this, they're speaking from this, and this doesn't always make sense, right? Um, they are trying to use emotionalism to wreck the red pill. They're trying to run the red pill through an emotionalism filter, right? Um, Realize that women say a lot of fucked up shit to online, and they're going to continue saying it because it gets them likes, clicks, attention, right? And today I saw something horrible about men, right? It was one of the most screwed up things. Like there was this guy's like, oh, this guy that doxed me or something, or like told my job about my tweets, unalived himself today. I saw that tweet. I don't know why the hell it was on my freaking for you or on my Twitter at all, and I don't know how it didn't get reported. But I'm just like, hey, like, you know, I know humans we have evil parts of ourselves, but you shouldn't be like parading the fact that a person ended their life, um, that you know personally, you know. Like that's really messed up. And I can see how a guy that's that's uninitiated or not experienced or doesn't have the insight, mental models, or just the frame to look at something like that and be like, "Oh, she's crazy." You know, like that girl, a person that thinks like that is going to be sad their whole life. Because there's no way a person who thinks about human life in that regard is a happy person. I know that for a fact. I know people like that, and they're always going to be miserable, right? And that's why I always say that this leads to one of my other mental models that I made for myself. It was just like, hey, um, you are going to get your revenge fantasy, right? You're just not going to be happy about it. It's not going to make you feel good, right? And I look at it. You guys may say like, oh, that girl is a piece of shit. She deserves what's coming to her for celebrating a man's death. And the quote in the comments are also other women celebrating his death. And I was like, what is wrong with you people? You know, like, why are you posting? Why are you online posting about this stuff? This is insane. This is like evil. This, like, you shouldn't be happy that someone ended their life, even if they did something to you, right? Unless it was like they hurt your children or something, then you'd be like, yeah, cool. But like, he didn't hurt you physically. He didn't do anything. He didn't ruin your life or anything that I know of. So it's like, how are you like this comfortable celebrating online in front of the whole world that how someone took their life? You know, do you think that person, the way they see human life and people that do them wrong, do you think they're gonna be happy in life? I know for a fact you're not. In order to live life, you need to be able to look at people that are bad and shitty, and even people that do bad things to you, and look at them and be like, "Oops, my bad. I let you do this. I'm gonna move on," and just forget about them, right? And that's that outcome independence, right? There's women like when the tradcons were like all getting on me because I publicly tweeted, "Hey, a girl left me for a virgin guy," and they were all like, "Oh, you're such a loser. How this happens? You're out there running through girl, blah blah." And I'm just like, hey, hold on, calm down. First off, as a human being that like freaking grew up and like is outcome independent, and also I'm living and focusing on my own thing and living my own life. I wish her nothing but the best, right? If she ever, first of all, I wasn't in love with her yet. We were just dating. We were just figuring each other out. And number two, I don't have an ego about it. I get left all the time. I get rejected 3-4 times a week online, in person. Um, it's not a big deal for you guys. You guys have egos, so it's not you guys in the chat, but like for them saying that, like, you guys have egos. You look at this stuff and you're just like, what a loser. Because if it happened to you, you would crumble. It would ruin your ego forever, and you wouldn't be able to function as a human being for a long time. But for me, it was just like, oh well, back to the grind, I guess. Or it was fun while it lasted. I guess time to move on. And a lot of guys, it bothers them that I have this kind of like detachment from things that don't help me or make me happy. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to be sad and depressed? Like, is that like, I want her to be happy. And even after she left, I was a little bummed. I was like a little like, what the heck? We had a really good thing going. But after a while, I'm just like, look at her. She looks happy in the photos. That guy's probably giving her all the things I couldn't give her or didn't or want to, or what she thought I couldn't give her, whatever. Anyways, it's not my problem. I'm living my own life. I got a new job. I'm running rotations of girls. I'm making friends. I'm moving on, right? And if she ever comes back into my life, we would be friends. I wouldn't date her ever again. She lost her opportunity. But it's just like, what about that? Why do you want me to hate her so bad? Why do you want me to hate myself so bad? What is your problem? And that's the cell, dude. That's the cell again, the jail cell that they want you back in. The self-doubt, the hate. I literally tell people who apparently are supposed to love God and love and have a faith, hey, that girl that really that left me for another guy who was much less attractive than me and no sexual experience, I don't care. She's okay. But they're telling me, hey, you should be mad and you're pathetic and you should be a better person. You're a degenerate and all that stuff. And I'm glad that this happened. It's because you're making up. I'm like, no. That's not how the real world works. The real world is people do shitty things sometimes. You can choose to take it personally or not. And if you do choose to take it personally, then good luck, because it's gonna hurt, right? It's gonna hurt. They're not mad that I'm like out there smashing girls, like, which I'm not. Like I like now the holidays is full of lonely girls, so they're hitting me up. So I have more girls over most of the time, right? Um, but for the most part, I'm not really, I'm not really worried about when people do stuff to me and like taking it personally. I really don't care that much. It hurts sometimes, They're like, "Why did you do this? Why are you ghosting me? Why are you teasing me? Why are you sending me nudes but you don't want to come over? Why are you bad mouthing me? You know, why did you ghost me?" All these things, right? And then you realize, like, wait, um, I can choose to take it personally and let it hurt my ego, or I can move on. And I'm telling you right now, guys, one of the biggest things that'll help you get out of that cell is that outcome independence, right? With your marriage, with your job, with family issues, everything. When you look at it and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do what I can. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and I'm not gonna, you know, sit down and feel sorry for myself for the rest of my life because one girl rejected me or one girl broke up with me." It happens, you know. You choose to like you choose to let it define you, or you just be like, "Okay, cool, that sucks," and you move on. The jail cell is there if you want to go back in there. I'm not ever going to go back in that jail cell. People will constantly tell me I suck, constantly online, real life, whatever, wherever. But you can't, like, once you get out of the jail cell, you're never gonna want to go back in. It's too much freedom. It's too much fun. It's too much. It's much you can achieve the things you want in life outside of the jail cell. So how are you going to do this? How are you going to go about this? It's up to you. We have the rules. We have laid out our observations. We said, hey, this is how women are. Good luck, right? And as long as you're living on life on your terms and in your frame, you should be fine. It should not be. You're gonna have ups and downs, but for the most part, less downs, if you do the things that you're supposed to do and understand and stop, checking in with everyone for what you want. So, um, yeah, it's a crazy world out there. I don't want anyone to do things they don't want to do. There's always going to be a group of guys that are going to be stuck in the cell and they're going to be the most terrified to come out, right? Like I had guys arguing about dick size for 3 days. They're still in my comments arguing about dick size. 3 days, like what the fuck? Like what are you arguing about dick size? Like if dick size was that important, we've all would have big dicks because women would select and stay with men with big dicks. Because that's genetics, right? But that's not how it is. So yeah, it's essentially like when men look for ways to like have excuses not to leave the cell. And you know maybe I have another jail cell to leave. Maybe I have things that I still have trouble, but I just know that once you leave the jail cell, you're not. There's no way you're going back in, man. It sucks. Like it. There's no way you want to go back in there. It makes you feel. It makes you feel like the walls are closing in. That's why when guys that like are living life on their own terms and they hear these people shaming them or trying to tell them how to live life, it's like they're speaking another language. It's like, what are you saying? I don't understand. You know, it really is like they're speaking another language. You got to stop being degenerate and get married. And I was like, what do you mean? Like married? Like contract with a person? Yeah. Okay. Like what's the point? Like what do I get out of it? Well, you're married. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I understand that the word married, but like what do I get out of it? Oh, you get to be a husband. What do I get out of being a husband? You get to appease God. I'm like, So what if it doesn't work? Can I go to God and be like, "Hey God, save my marriage"? No, you have to do that. Oh, okay. So all right, doesn't make sense. Do I get financial benefit? No, you actually get less benefit. You actually run the risk of you know, giving away half your assets to a hateful person that now hates you. Oh, okay. What about if I have kids? Kids, they're not yours, they're hers. We'll let you see them whenever we feel like it. Oh, and then they don't sell marriage. And then I'm like, okay, well, oh, cool. I see some marriages that work. Maybe that looks fun. Like, and then you look at the behavior of women online. They're just like, you can't look at boobs. Only my boobs. And you're just like, wait, but like, why can't I look at boobs? Cause it's against God. And I'm just like, okay, well, if it's against God, but like you're on forums, you're talking down to men, you're like, like, and you're posting pictures of yourself in makeup, using your physicality to attract more followers. And like, you see what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't want to get married ever because like this is what it looks like. Just a bunch of crazy people being mean to each other within a relationship, and mostly women. And here I am, like juggling 3 hot chicks, getting everything I want out of them, or that I need out of them, that I would need in a marriage or a relationship, and I'm free and I'm not spending barely any money as compared to a relationship. And you could argue, oh, well, what about the children? I'm like, yeah, I could choose to have children anytime and just call it unprotected sex. And I realized, like, there's nothing they can do, and that's why they shriek so loud at the jail cell, because there's nothing they can do, because they're not going to leave the cell themselves. All they can do is yell at you. Guilt, shame. That's all. All women that see us live this life, they're all the same. They're all the same. The girls on podcasts that are so-called doctors or PhDs or whatever, they'll see you and they'll be like, "You're toxic." And I'm like, "Yeah." They'll be like, "You're a bad person." And I look at them and I'm like, "Yeah, I am." You guys ever play The Witcher? Where he was once the Witchers were once regarded as like, heroes of the land, and they killed monsters, and now they were just like these weird mercenaries that like kill monsters for like $15, to kill like some dragon with 7 dicks, or like some plant with 4 vaginas, or whatever monsters they have in that game. Like, that's, but the witches were free, and they were banging out, and they were all banging witches, and they had brotherhood, and none of the other witchers were constantly telling what the other witchers to do. They would just check in on each other and be like, hey dude, you need help with killing this monster? Or like, hey man, like, you want to spar and practice? Like, hey man, remember the good old times? So it's like, that's how it is. And they hate that. They hate the freedom. They hate men living on their own, and kind of like being very independent, thinking for themselves. They absolutely need um people to tell them what to do, and it sucks. So there's nothing you can do, right? And there's nothing you can do for them, and there's nothing they can do for you, because you already tasted freedom. Like, what am I gonna do? But anyway, guys, yeah, this thread is a pretty cool thread. I wrote it. It's very fun to read. So guys, if you guys haven't read it, go ahead and read it. It's all my experiences. I am planning to write a book, probably started early this year or next year, 2024, about my experiences. Each one of these numbers, there is a girl attached to there's a story. Like, none of these, I didn't just make up this stuff because someone else said it. Like, this is, each one of these things are something that I experienced, and that's why it seems so real, because there actually is a woman or an experience tied to that. Like, I'll pick anyone. Like, guys, give me a number 1 through 100, and I'll pick the number on the thread, and I'll tell you the story. Give me one. Any number, 1 through 100. Come on, guys. Give me one number, 1 through 100. All right, we got. All right, let's go with Soji Q 69. All right, let's go to 69 here in the thread. 69, 69. Hold on, I gotta expand it. All right. Good number, by the way, 69. Very interesting number that you chose there, friend. All right. 69. Don't understand exception with men pleasing women sexually unless she is my girl. My purpose on this earth is not to please women. Okay. All right. So several women. This is like several women that I've noticed that we would hook up, and I'm gonna try to make this not crass or not too sexual into because you guys really don't care about my sexy times, right? But I noticed that a lot of guys, like a lot of discourse online when I was dating about how men should be better pleasers, and that they say these things to like, oh, men, big dick this and cum this and squirt this and like all this weird shit about like how what men should do and all these guides and all that stuff. And then I started realizing like a girl I was hooking up with throughout the year, like throughout 2021, several girls were like, "Hey, don't worry about me. I want to do this for you. I want you to finish. Don't worry about me. You can do it whenever you want." Right. And I realized like, wait, while women do like enjoy having orgasms and enjoying sex, they get a huge kick out of being able to serve a man that they have genuine desire for or like even a little bit. And you can even tell them, hey, can you just like do this for me? I just need you to do this for me today. And they'll be fucking happy. Women love pleasing men that they like, and that's one of the things like you have to understand that women that are sexually selfish don't get far with men because in essence you're planning the date, you have to bring charm, charisma, you're planning the day, you got to pay for the day, you got to do all these things, logistics, you got to plan all these things, and at the end of the day she decides to reward you with sex, right? Or you reward her with sex, and now you have to also get into the point where like, hey, I got to make sure I rock this girl's world, which you should on the first date, right? But let's say you start dating her casually, and after a while you're gonna be like, hey, like you know a lot of times they'll say, hey, I know you work hard, just can we just focus on yourself? And I've gotten that so much throughout the years. So when you guys actually get out there, which I'm not saying you haven't, I'm going to assume all of you guys are out there dating, doing your thing, or married, or whatever. A lot of times, girls online will say, "Men aren't good enough. Men should fuck me this way and do this." And I'm so disappointed by men, which kind of shows that she's a slut because she's sleeping around enough to kind of like gather this information. But also realize that that's at the end of that for men I don't like. Men should learn how to eat vagina. Um, and then just add men that I don't like. For men that she likes, she's like, hey, just do whatever you want. If you want to eat my vagina, that's cool. And if they actually really want you to, they'll sit you down and be like, hey, next time can you do that for me, please? Like, please, please, please. And they'll be sweet and nice about it. So yeah. All right. Next number. 71 by Opium. And then we'll get to 42. 71. With dating apps, you are subject to churn marketing. Was getting some 3s and 4s on Hinge and stopped swiping. After a week, I was getting 7s plus more matches. Keep in mind that's all mind flick to keep you hooked. Yeah, so it's crazy that guys complain about dating apps. A lot of the reason they complain about dating apps is because they kind of want the dating apps to be the solve of their dating. They think like, hey, I was given this super special technology. It should give me what I want, which is dates, right? It's like that Louis C.K. joke where the guy gets on a plane. He gets on a plane. The captain announces, hey, this is the first time we have Wi-Fi on the plane. The guy's like, sweet. He opens up his laptop, does stuff. And then 15 minutes later, the captain says, hey, the Wi-Fi is going to go away for a while because we're having turbulence or something. And the guy shuts his laptop and is like, oh, that's bullshit. That's what people sound with dating apps. Dating apps are an amazing invention, right? They're probably going to ruin society on a long enough timeline, But for right now, which is what we care about right now, they're been given a piece of technology that you can use it to your advantage, right? If it works, if it works for you. So instead of complaining and being like dating apps suck, it's the end of the world, kind of like see how it works. Do some research, like talk to other guys that use the app that are successful. And then I realized like, hey, there is some churn marketing with dating apps. Like they changed the algorithm, right? There will be days where you're going to be getting, like, especially Hinge does this, fat chick, ugly chick, fat chick, old chick, fat chick, fat chick. And you're just like, ugh. And then one day you just stop swiping for 2 or 3 days. And then you're getting 7, 8, 7, 8, match, 7, 8. You're going to realize, wait, this whole thing about me being attractive or unattractive to women, it's not so much that you have a terrible profile and you're an ugly dude. It's so much that you're just not pushed up, right? Tinder's tough with this because Tinder's very like straight out the gate. Your elo score will you'll have a tough time getting your elo score up. But for Hinge, their algorithm's different. It's an award-winning algorithm which helps you. It puts you in front of hot women, mid women, and ugly women constantly. It bounces you around, right? So you will notice that unless you're like swiping constantly, you've exhausted all the women. That sometimes you'll get like a day of hot chicks or 7s and 8s. Then you'll get like 5s and 6s. Then you'll get like girls that are just barely can't have, they're just not, there's no way, right? There's no way you would get with her, right? And that's just the way it is. Like, and that's like knowing that it makes you getting no matches on Hinge for a while more doable, right? And I noticed this because there would be times where I'd match with a girl and she'd be freaking gorgeous, and I'd be like, what the heck? What's different from this girl than the other girls, right? And it simply was that you got pushed up in the algorithm. The algorithm did its thing. You got pushed up. Hey, this guy's kind of attractive. I'll give him a like. So don't take this dating app too seriously, right? There's a lot more going on besides, hey, my profile sucks. There's a lot more than that. Obviously, work on your profile the best you can. So when you are discovered, but like, don't take it so seriously. There's a lot of geeks and programmers that are messing with the algorithm so they can make money and they can keep you on. So don't take it so seriously, right? If you want to get your head fucked with, that's on you, right? But anyways. Grim Kai said, do you cover bedroom game on your Patreon or know of any books research that may help with this? No, I don't. I mean, I have tips, but like, I just don't like discussing sex. It just feels weird for me, but with other guys, especially online that I don't know. But I will say there are stuff I could talk about it on my Patreon. I could type something up, things that I use, like little tips and tricks that I use for women. I have gotten good at getting women to have a squirting orgasms, right? I learned that there's a really good technique that I learned, but I don't feel like discussing on a stream. So I will write that down and I will write down tips and tricks. Sorry, it just feels weird for me, but good question. Yeah, thank you. All right, so 42. Hold on. All right. So you said 42. Women do not care that you understand her culture at all. Probably why Passport Bros is taken off. All right. So yeah, 42. Basically, what happens is, America is very like obsessed with race and culture here, right? We have all these memes for each culture, stereotypes, because we're like very individualistic society, right? Whereas if you go to Mexico, everyone's Mexican, everyone thinks the same and acts the same. Same in other countries, Colombia, countries in Southeast Asia, China, whatever, right? They're all collectivist societies. They all think the same, but in America, we're very individualistic, right? So we think that a lot of times that in order to game women or to have or hook up with women from other cultures, backgrounds, and all that stuff, that you need to like kind of be like them. Like you have the guys that like Asian women kind of like learn the language and watch what they watch and act like they act. It's very weird, right? And then you have guys that like Latinas that think that they have to I don't know, speak broken Spanish to them and all that stuff in order to appease them, right? But the truth is, like, an attractive man is an attractive man in any language or any culture, and an attractive woman is an attractive woman in any language, right? There's Indian baddies, there's Chinese baddies, there's French baddies, there's Puerto Rican baddies, there's all types of baddies, and they all love attractive, exciting men. So don't kill yourself or bend over backwards in order to appease women from other cultures, right? Oftentimes, all they wanted was something different from their own culture, right? Um, maybe they come from a culture where the men are like meek, or like the men are more like reserved, and you're like outgoing and fun and exciting, and like you talk a lot. They love that. They're fascinated because it's different from the men back at their culture. So they're like, "Ooh, I want to get with this guy. This guy's different. He's fun and exciting." So they're more happy that you're different and you're being yourself, and that you trying to qualify to them and their culture. Now, when it becomes something like a relationship and you're getting close to the woman, then maybe um, you might want to consider learning her culture more, because it's you love her, you're falling in love with her, and you want to it's nice to connect with someone, um right? But like, women that I've dated, Chinese, um white, European, Eastern European recently, from Mexico, all these cultures, they all had one thing in common, and they liked who I was. They didn't like, they liked me. They didn't like me trying to be like them, and all that. So yeah. Um, but yeah, guys, if you guys want to give me one more number and we'll wrap it up, and I'll give you another story or another insight, and we'll wrap it up. Um, and I'm glad you guys came through. It's a fun stream today. This is the last stream of the year. At least, I'm probably gonna do a post zero on DragonShip, but 71. Didn't I already do 71? Yeah, I did. Already did 71. Let me double check. Damn it, my Twitter refreshed. Hold on. Yeah, 71 was the churn marketing one. Opium. Unless, hold on, did I read that wrong? Yeah, I did. Sorry, I didn't update the chat, but let's see. Oh, 25. Okay, let's do 25. We'll call it quits. All right, 25. Let's scroll up here. All right, 25. DJs, dance instructors, and other men who are out for the environment will keep an eye on you. Don't step on any toes. Okay, yeah. So I used to go to salsa night, or I still do go to salsa night, and the DJs, the contextual alphas, but there's also other guys that are like, because the DJ's spinning, he can talk to girls, but he's busy, right? So there's the guys that are like the good dancers, the guys that like pull girls after a dance and ask her for Instagram or talk to her, right? And you're entering a space where like there's competition for those girls, right? So you got to be careful. You're new, right? So what I would do is, like, when I would go to salsa night, I would pay attention with the girls at the DJ, and the alpha guy there besides the DJ would be eyeing, right? And I'd be like, let me be careful. I don't know these guys yet. I want to be accepted. I'm gonna let them, I'm gonna let them have it, And they became really good friends with me. They're like family now, right? Because I didn't go in there guns blazing trying to be Mr. Alpha. I just said, hey, you know what? I want to be chill. I'm trying to get to know these people and get to know the space, and I'm going to play my cards right. And now, it's water under the bridge, And that one of the hottest girls I've ever even that I've ever dated, which I'm dating right now, is because I made it. I dominated that space with charm and charisma, and I said, hey, I'm going to be friends with these people first, and then I'm going to do my thing, right? It's all tactics. It's all 48 laws of power stuff. So yeah, that's the story behind that. And now it's in any environment, right? Whether it be work and all that stuff, never outshine the master, right? Rule number one, 48 laws of power. You don't go in there thinking you're the best. You kind of let people, you're stepping into another person's environment where they're the leader. You let them run it. If they want the hottest girl that night, you let them have it. You don't compete or anything. You just let it happen. It's just 48 laws of power, Machiavellian stuff, but that's the way we do things. So thanks for that. Oh, and then Soul GQ with the number 2. All right, let's do number 2 then. Number two. All women are feminists at first, even the ones that say they are not. Frame fixes this. Do I really need to explain this one? All women are feminists. You know that, right? All women are feminists, right? You know that all women are take advantage of the fact that men have a protector instinct and they use it for their own personal gain. So, sorry. You need to really think, hey, just because a girl's saying the things I like and she claims to be anti-feminist, she's still feminist. It's just the biggest bullshit. All women are feminists. Assume all women are feminists. They're using your protector instincts to get ahead, and they're going to continue doing it. And guys are going to continue championing them. And it's like the new grift. The female I'm not a feminist. It's the new grift. It started with the Trump era, and you have all these like bag of girls with that complain about society and how men need to stand up. They're using your protection instinct because they're telling you, hey, be a better man for me. You're just like, oh yeah, okay, I'll work harder and lift weights so I could be a better man for you, conservative lady. And then they get clout, and then they get rich, and they think they have a space at the table when it comes to interracial dynamics. Now we made them too powerful. Now they think that their opinion matters just because they're conservative. And we're just like, no, honey, that's not this works. You need to actually be a man and understand, actually have stake in the game for this. But yeah, guys. Anyways, I appreciate you guys being here. Extra long stream today. I had to get off my chest. It's been a crazy year. Am I right, guys? I'll probably do a Sunday New Year's message, New Year's Eve message. Right, but just know it's been a long year, guys. I learned a lot this year. I went through my ups and downs with women. I can tell you, it's crazy, right? Because I would say my biggest thing is that I complain a lot. I want hotter girls. I want girls to act like this. I want girls to be like this. But I realize I look back and I'm like, I've been blessed to be able to have the mindset and the skills and the like patience and the discipline to deal with this, because I've enjoyed some pretty hot women out there, and maybe none of them were hot, and like not to get too crass or crazy, but like some of them weren't hot. Some of them just had a cute face or something, or some of them were just fun. Some of them were just like pay for my dates, so I was like, okay, I can keep you around. Some of them had massive titties, and I'm like, okay, you're not that attractive, but you have huge titties, and you're a pleasure to be around. And as a guy, you start looking at this, and you're just like, I may not have the ability to choose women like an athlete where I just like pluck a woman from somewhere and put her in front of me. I may not have that ability, and I may never have that ability, right? You need to be super famous, clouded, or whatever. But I have the ability to where I know eventually I will never go without sex, ever. Ever. That's the jail cell. Leaving the jail cell knowing that, like, even though I'm leaving a lot of the limiting beliefs and ideas that I felt so safe and comfortable in, now I know that if I keep doing the things I need to do, that I will never go without sex, ever. Bar like an injury, bar death, bar, you will always have sex. And that is what the fucking point of all this is, guys. And it's really what men really want, is just to have their sexual needs met with a reasonable amount of effort, right? And once you understand that, your life becomes different. once you leave sexual scarcity and you go to sexual abundance, life becomes different, right? You see things differently. Like there's a new veneer, there's a new filter on life. You start seeing how desperate men are to get what they do, the lengths they go, right? Um, to the lengths they go to get women to even be in front of them, right? You're going to be on dates with girls that are not that attractive, and they're gonna tell you that, yeah, I went on a sugar date with this guy. He paid me $500 just to sit in front of him, right? That's true sexual scarcity, right? You guys going without sex for a week, 2 weeks, a month, that's nothing. There's dudes that are literally paying hundreds of dollars to OnlyFans models to have a parasocial relationship because that's how lonely they are, right? Like it could be worse. You could have been born a guy that has that was the that thought that was the like that's normal and that's okay, you know. Um, but no, you're not. You decided, hey, I know that I have to perform to get women, and I got to be a certain way, and I'm going to do it, you know. Um, but you got to leave the jail cell. The jail cell is comfortable. No one can hurt you inside the jail cell. You got to leave the jail cell. Find out what powers you have, what things you can leverage to get what you want. Find out what you want, and fly blind for a while. You don't know what's out there. You know what's in the cell, but you don't know what's out there, and that's how I was. January 2021, first girl I had over. I'm just like, holy shit! Like I took a girl home on the first date, first try. What the heck? And she was so happy to be in my apartment, and we made out, and I was like, nothing about this is like so hard. Like this is, like this is becoming easier every minute. This is becoming easier and more relaxed. And then, maybe I went to like take her shirt off or something. She's like, oh, I'm not ready. And then we just kept making out, or she said, oh, I have to go. And then she would text me the next day, and I'm like, oh shit, I freaked her out. She's crazy. I freaked her out. She's gonna run and tell authorities or something that I touched her boob, or like I tried to take her shirt off. But the next day I would constantly get texts from women when they wouldn't want to have sex with me. Hey, thank you. I want to see you again. Or hey, thanks for the night. It was amazing. And I realized like, oh shit, that's crazy. They, um, these guys saying that women are dangerous and they'll ruin your life if you make a move on them. But honestly, they were thanking me. So what the heck? That's discovering your powers out there, guys, and no one can do it for you. None of the red pill guys can discover your powers for you. You got to discover your own powers. And as you go through your journey and you discover more, you're gonna start. The podcast will get sillier. The reactionary content will get silly. The comments it'll become more farcical. Like a lot of you guys are asking, how do you deal with this every day? These people like constantly saying these things. It's because it's common. It's funny to me. It's hilarious, right? Because let's say you see a rad femme saying men are trash, men. It's over for you men. But then you think in your mind, yeah, I remember there was this one girl I smashed. She was like super anti-men and anti this. And I had her face down doggy style with her head in the carpet, right? And you realize like, wait, that's that same girl with that same mindset. She probably gets like her head pushed down into the floor in doggy style and says, yes, daddy, hit me harder. Just like every other girl. And you look at her and you're just like, wait, that's just a normal person behind there. She's not like a god. She's not. That's why they have to like pump up their appearance, because they don't want you to know that they're a fucking normal girl who likes to get pounded from behind, likes to get slapped and spit on, that's insecure, that does their makeup for the very men they hate, and all that stuff. And they tweet and they go back and they have this bitterness and they say, what is something I could say bad about men? They have their formula. They type it. Okay, this thing that everyone's popular, I rate them out. I'm going to make it in a way that men will hate it. And then you get, you, the viewer, get mad at that. And you're just like, wait, hold on. I got to react to this, right? And it's just like, you don't, because they're a normal person. And once you get enough experience, you start seeing that people are more normal and more comical than you think. It's all a joke. It's not real. It's not serious. It's not Don't take it seriously. Take yourself seriously, but everything else, it's all a joke, right? It's all a joke. I'm telling. As another example, like everyone thinks that the OnlyFans model is the new demonic thing that's going to destroy society. I've met girls that were demonic. Sorry, not demonic. I met girls that were only that had OnlyFans, and when I found out, it wasn't like for me. It wasn't like, oh no, you ruined my life, because no, I was just like, ew, like it was like cringe. It was like, really, you do that? Yikes, like really, like that's what you were like, you know, like you were into that. You like spread your cheeks. Think about it, this guys. Think about a girl that you liked once, that you like, hey, this girl's pretty cool, and then you find out that like she like takes her butt cheeks, spreads them open, and like so her butthole can show for a picture. From watching pornography, you're just like, man, that's hot. But like when a real woman that you like and you're dating or would like to date does that, it's like cringy. You're not jealous. You're not trying to control her. You're just like, that's corny. That's the corniest thing I've ever heard of. You're spreading your butt for weirdos on the internet for like pennies. Like if you were making $100,000 a year, I'd be like, yeah, cool. I'll date you for a while and it'll be fun. But like you're like doing it for pennies, for like which 99% of women are. Where it's like it's cringe, and that's like as you go on in life and you get to know women, you start realizing like, hey, like it's all fake, it's all a facade. They're not, they're putting up a thing to seem better and bigger or smarter or whatever, more pretty than they are. But when you get to know them in person, like I have a reply girl that's exactly like my ex now. Like the way she sees career, relationship, she likes to reply. She's exactly like my ex, almost down to the T. She continues to say, "Oh, I have a boyfriend, and thank you, Nuke, for your help, because I can fall more in love with my boyfriend." And I'm like, "Okay, glad I could help. This stuff's not for you, but hey, if it's helping, it's helping, sure." But she keeps replying to me. She keeps like, liking my posts. She keeps in the space, She keeps saying, "Oh, your posts are so funny, Nuke," and I'm just like, "That's my ex used to do that." She had a new guy, and then she would text me like, "Look at this funny meme I found, Nuke. Like, remember this when we used to laugh at this?" And I'm like, you're in a relationship now. You shouldn't be sending me stuff. Like, I used to bone you. You're not supposed to talk to me anymore." But yeah, it's like you see patterns and you see things that women do, and you don't hate them anymore. You start like, oh, you poor soul, like you don't know what you're doing. Like you don't know what you're doing. Like you saying that you're falling in love with a guy, but continuously like fascinated by some broken-hearted Twitter red pill guy, is telling me the opposite. And I've been here before. I know what you're doing. And I want you to like get away from me and focus on your guy. And that's exactly what I told my ex, or like implied to my ex. Same thing. It's like you see it over and over again. You find out a girl does OnlyFans, it's super cringe, and then you see a podcast where girls like doing like promoting her OnlyFans and being stupid, and like it's all an act. Like I know that's an act. I dated one of y'all. I did two of you. One of them I found out later, and then one of them it was up front. It's just like it's not as cool and sexy and fun as you think it is. It's kind of cringe, right? And then how you have all these older women complaining about the wall and all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's real, but it's like you don't want to know the real wall for women. It gets weird. Real wall for women is being addicted to surgeries to make yourself look younger. The real wall for women is resigning yourself to bang younger guys. To bang younger guys. Resigning yourself to bang younger guys. Like the early 30s guys, and telling them, hey, I want to get pregnant. Like that's happened to me. It's the real wall is depressing. You're not gonna like it. You're gonna be like, hey, like you shouldn't be doing this. Like it's not gonna make you. I mean, obviously, in the moment you're gonna be horny and stuff. You're like, yeah, I'll smash a 40-year-old girl. Fuck it. But like, looking back, you're gonna be like, man, isn't that sad that 40-year-old girls or like use like they're trying to relive their youth by banging guys in their peak. You know what I'm saying? Just to feel like they still got it and they're getting like the wall is ugly. The wall is not something that you're gonna be like, hell yeah, take that. You're gonna be like, I'm sorry. Like, wow, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And you know what's even worse than the wall, right? Um, you know what's even worse than the wall is like watching a train wreck in person. Or sorry, in progress. That's even worse. That hurts. Watching a woman throwing everything, all her advantages away over time. Hey, and I'm not gonna work out. I'm gonna vape, and I'm gonna eat shitty food. And I'm like, you have a beautiful figure. You have like nice boobs. Like, we're hooking up, and you have a nice body. You have a big butt. You have nice boobs. You have a pretty face. Why are you eating trash? Preserve that. So when the millionaire guy that you think you deserve sees you, you at least have a chance. No, I don't want to go to the gym. I'm too lazy. I'm just like, oh god, why are you doing this? You're 26. And then it's like, hey, don't vape. You know, like that stuff will mess your blood. No, I just fuck it. I like to vape. I'm like, hey, save your money. Don't go on trips where you also get fucked by randos. You know, um, and you just see all the components of them about to smash to the wall. You're just like, oh, I can't do anything about you or for you. We're done. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for listening. It was a hell of a show today. I had a lot to say, but just know you gotta leave the cell. It's scary, but you gotta leave it. That's all I have, guys. Good night.
Flying